Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Live with Mel. The United States currently has a problem with guns. It seems as though every single week we are hearing about another mass shooting. And in the past week, it hasn't even been every week. It seems to be every few days we are hearing about some kind of mass shooting happening here in the United States. Now, whether you are pro guns, whether you are against guns, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, whether you are someone who loves to state the Second Amendment, or whether you're somebody who believes in more gun control, the one thing that we have seen time and time again is that in the United States, we have an issue when it comes to mass shootings. In the United States, we have an issue when it comes to people taking guns and shooting other citizens. The past few weeks, the past few days, we have seen time and time again someone taking a gun, going out and shooting multiple people. We have been watching on the news across the country, in different states, in red states, in blue states, that armed assailants are going and attacking and shooting and killing innocent people. Some of the motives have been because of race, some of the motives have been just random targetings, but we are seeing this issue happen time and time again in the United States. The United States has an issue with guns at the moment. And whether you are Democrat, Republican, whether you're for guns, whether you're against guns, you have to acknowledge that there is some kind of issue happening in the United States with gun violence. Gun violence is taking a huge toll on the American people. Now, if we look over the weekend in Austin, 3 people were shot in Austin. The suspect was a 41-year-old Stefan Nicholas Broddick, and he went and he shot and killed people as well. He was a former deputy with the sheriff's department. A few days ago in Wisconsin, in Kenosha, Wisconsin, 3 men were shot and killed in a college bar. The police are saying that the suspect took a shotgun and he targeted these people, that the shooting was targeted and isolated. On Thursday, a former FedEx employee shot several people. A former FedEx employee went into the facilities and shot several people. 8 people were killed and several people were injured in FedEx. Now, in this, with the 8 people shot, 4 killed, 4 were of the Sikh faith. Now, again, we don't know exactly what the motives are, but the one thing that we do know is that people were taking guns and going in and shooting people. In the United States, we hear time and time again that somebody has taken a gun and has come in and shot multiple people, multiple innocent people. This is something that is very unique to the United States when we look at developed nations. And again, like I've been saying at the beginning, this is not something where I'm leaning on one side or another. Whether you are Republican or whether you're a Democrat, we have to come together because there is some kind of problem happening in the United States in which we are seeing an increase in mass shooting and an increase in gun violence. Joanna says, yes, it is totally out of control. Just this past weekend, there has been multiple shootings around the country. A 7-year-old girl lost her life going through a drive-through, and that was a drive-through in McDonald's. Now, I have not, I picked 4 cases to talk about that happened this past week, but there were so many more cases that happened over the weekend. Gun violence is something that is affecting Americans. Now, people are saying that it's happening for several reasons, but we do know that in 2020, gun sales were doing really, really great. So now we have more Americans who own guns. And at the end of the day, we have to look at what type of legislation needs to be put into place in order to minimize the amount of gun violence that this country is seeing. This country is seeing a rapid increase in gun violence, and it's happening across the country. It's not just happening in blue states. It's not just happening in red states. It's not just happening in Republican strongholds. It's not happening where there's an increase of Democrats. It's happening across the country, no matter what you believe in politically. And I know when we do start talking about gun legislation, we do see that there are very different schools of thoughts when it comes to someone who's Republican and when it comes to someone who's Democrat. But at the end of the day, this is not happening to Republicans and this is not happening to Democrats. This is happening to the American people. And the American people, especially those in office, need to step up and put some type of legislation in place to curb the amount of gun violence that this country is seeing, because this country is seeing an increase in gun violence. Now, according to the nonprofit Gun Violence Archives, or GVA, at least 150 mass shootings have happened in 2021. And this is just 2021. We are in the 4th month of 2021, and we have already seen, according to GVA, again, that's Gun Violence Archives, 150 mass shootings. Now, this statistic is according to GVA, but if you look at different statistics, there's even people saying there's been at least 192 mass shootings in the United States. Now, GVA does consider mass shootings where at least 4 people have been shot, not including the shooter. So not including the person who's armed and coming in. Now, this is something that we have been talking about as a nation for a very long time. As a nation, we have been trying to address, but always fighting about what we're going to do about the gun issue in this country. And it seems as though, as a people, as Americans, we cannot come together to find a solution to this. But at this point, people need to put politics aside and look for legislation to stop this, because every single day, people are losing their lives to gun violence in this country. And we're seeing this increase in mass shootings. Now, we had the 2 mass shootings that happened a few weeks ago, and that was in Boulder, Colorado, and in Atlanta. Now, with these 2 shootings, GVA has come out and said, since those 2 mass shootings, which made headlines, that the whole country was talking about, there has been another 50 mass shootings from that point. People are saying that this is increasing, and it seems as though nothing that people are doing at this point is limiting the shootings in this country. So guys, what are your thoughts about the mass shootings in America? Go ahead and share your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are about the mass shootings happening in the United States. Now, again, according to GVA, at least 150 mass shootings have happened in these past 4 months. In 2021, according to the nonprofit, 150 mass shootings have occurred. And in the past few weeks, and in the past few days, just days, we are seeing that it's happening back to back to back. In the past few days, we have seen the shooting that happened in Austin, Texas, where 3 people were shot. We saw the shooting that happened in Wisconsin, where 3 men were killed in the bar. And then we saw what happened on Thursday, where a former FedEx employee went in and shot the facilities, and the 4 people were of the Sikh faith. But again, 8 people lost their life and many people were injured. This is something that is happening in this country, and it seems to be increasing every single year. Now let's go to the comments really quickly. Oh, that's my grandmother says, I thank you since I'm looking good. So thank you so much for tuning in, Grandma. So guys, what are your thoughts about what's going on with the mass shooting? Now, President Joe Biden is looking to put some type of legislation in place in order to try and curb the gun violence. President Joe Biden is looking to decrease the amounts of mass shootings that we are having in this country by putting forth legislation with executive orders. But again, with executive orders, they can only do so much. Executive orders do not have the same reach as legislation that is passed by Congress. But looking at the way that Congress is happening right now and the way that they are behaving, it does not seem as though Congress will be able to put through legislation that will really curb what is happening. So when we look at President Joe Biden, we see that he put forth executive orders to deal with ghost guns, or guns that you can put together yourself, and to also make it easier for people to flag family members who shouldn't be buying guns or who they believe shouldn't be buying guns. Now, with the ghost guns, they're targeting these homemade guns because it's not as easy to trace. And then with making it easier to flag family members who should not have guns, it's opening the door for people to say that, hey, this person may not be stable and they may not have guns because they pose a threat to themselves and other people. Now, Joanna says it's becoming a norm in the United States. I do not see a solution anytime soon. And it is becoming a norm. And this past week, we heard about a lot of mass shootings in this country. This past week, it seems every few days, there was another mass shooting. It seems every few days this past week that someone lost their lives to gun violence. And Joanna says that it doesn't seem like there's going to be any solution anytime soon with everything that's happening, because at the end of the day, people need to come together. It needs to be something that both Democrats and Republicans come together and put together some type of legislation in order to try and curb the amount of gun violence that is happening in this country. Again, every few days, it seems as though we are hearing about this mass shooting. This past week, every single day that you turned on the news, they were talking about mass shootings in some capacity. And again, whether you are a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, whether you're pro-gun, whether you're against gun, whether you're someone who loves to mention the Second Amendment, or whether you're someone who believes there needs to be more gun control, there needs to be something done, and we all need to come together in order to deal with the gun violence that is happening in this country. This is not a partisan issue. This is an American issue that we do need to deal with. So guys, let me know what you think about in the comment section below. Let me know what your thoughts are on the mass shooting. Let me know if you have any suggestions. What do you think people should do in order to curb the mass shootings that are happening in this country? Again, mass shootings are something that are happening every few days, every single week in this country. And it seems to be increasing, as we see in this past week, where every few days we turn on the news and there was another one, whether it was Austin, whether it was Kenosha, whether it was somewhere in this country. Guys, let me know in the comment section below. I love to hear what you guys think. And again, whether we agree or whether we disagree, it's important for you to share your opinions as well, because this show is all about you sharing your opinion. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow morning bright and early for Live with Mel. Have a great day, everybody.